Hi everybody, welcome to Great Artist Deal. My name is Ian Ellis and this is the first interpretation video I'm doing, and what we're focusing on is a painter called Philippe Guston, and this is a painting by him painted in 1969. Why I've selected this painting? Because it's so topical. It's dealing with the subject of racism. Guston at the moment should be having a retrospective at the Tate and in the Museum of Modern Art in New York. But it's been postponed for 4 years, and I complained about this and I wrote to the Observer and it got published. And if you want to read that, if you look at Guardian Opinion and put my name, Ian Ellis, after it, you'll be able to read what I've got to say. However, the aim of this group of videos is to really just try and improve our interpretation skills. I say our because obviously you come back to me, I'll improve, I come back to you, you improve. And also we read what other people say, so it'd be really good if you could take part and write back to me with your ideas about what you think the painting's about. For me though, the most important thing about interpretation is trying to understand what the artist is trying to say. I'm not interested in how I see it, I'm interested in what he's trying to say. The first rule of interpretation is not to listen or read or watch any interpretations. Get the painting, have a look at it for yourself, try and understand it, write it down, then come back to me or somebody else and have a look, see what you think and see you can compare how you've seen it. Before we get started though, how do you know if it's a painting that needs interpreting? If looking at this painting, how did I know it needs interpreting? And I think it's just looking for something that looks a bit odd and doesn't really quite make sense. Something that may be a bit ambiguous. My approach to interpretation, it's up to you if you follow. There's just about 4 different rules. The first one is just to interpret it, try and make sense of it. The second one is then to test it. Test it. How can you test it? You test it with, say, other paintings by the same artist or the same subject. And historical facts, what was going on at the time. This particular painting, it was painted in 1969, what was going on then. So that's very important. Also, the aim is to improve your skills. It's trying to get an understanding of your own bias as well. How we misread things is very important as well to help you improve your interpretation skills. Now, my interpretation of this painting, the oddness for me when I first saw this painting were the hands. One's got a white glove on, and the other one's hand looks like it's made of blood, or it represents, red hand represents death or something like that. I mean, obviously it fits in with the idea of the Ku Klux Klan because of the history of violence that was taking place under that white supremacist movement. The glove's strange though, because when I first saw that, I was a little bit more, maybe more aware of my own bias. Because as a kid, what I did, I spent ages drawing Walt Disney cartoons, and Mickey Mouse was, when I first saw that, I saw that as a Mickey Mouse glove, but when I went back and looked at the Mickey Mouse glove, it wasn't anything. It was a little bit like it, but I wasn't sure. And also, it looks a bit too sophisticated, doesn't it, for a Mickey Mouse glove? And I think that's the idea behind it. When I look at that, it's a gesture of sophistication, and the fag and the way he's holding it with the 2 fingers. But obviously, it makes a bit of a mockery. It's part of the humour. Remember, Guston's painting is almost like a political cartoonist, but there's something a bit more mysterious about it as well. So, and what is that mystery? When I look at that, yeah, it's the hands and the gloves, but I got the idea of the mystery from trying to understand the space of the painting. If you look at the painting, you get kind of the idea of overlaps, and the red at the back goes back and comes forward. The curtains are red, the pink disappears at the back. And all these things are overlapping, like there's almost like 3D canvas. That's very important, where they see the side of the canvas. It makes a really solid object, and makes mist very 3-dimensional. But everything's painted flat, but you've got this idea of collage space. Collage space is what I call it, is a space that took over the 20th century art. You see Picasso and Cubism, where this idea of paper overlapping each other, kind of like where the artists were flattening the painting to create more movement. So this fits in with that kind of space. But what's interesting about this for me is the mystery of it, is the smoke. The cigarette you've got there is actually the smoke from it is missing here, which means that the smoke at the back, I say at the back because it looks like it's going around the back of the hand. And I think that's intentional from Guston. I think his if you think about it, at the same time, historically, looking back at the time, there was a Cold War going on, the Vietnam War was going on, people were tenderly scared of the bomb going off. I grew up in that time, and in the 80s I was painting, and a lot of before the Berlin Wall came down, I was painting about the fear of the bomb. And with Guston, I think that's what it is. And if you look at the clock, it's just one finger, so it's a timer. So I think it's the warning from Guston. We're back. Well, how many years is it? Something like 50 years later. We're looking at a painter who's painting about racism, and things haven't changed. It's really sad, and it's a warning from him. If we don't sort things out, it's the sort of thing that can happen. So it's a warning from him, warning from the grave, from Guston. Sort ourselves out, and we've got to really try our best to do that. And I think it's a brilliant painting, and because of the ambiguity of it as well, and it provokes our interpretation. So I hope you enjoyed that, everybody. The next painting I'm going to be focusing on is, we're going to go back to the killer mix. I'm going to look at Cezanne's painting, and then we're looking at how he used black in the painting. After that, I'll be looking at another political painting by Pablo Picasso called Guernica. So please have a look at that painting, see if you can make sense of it. It's a massive painting, a massive subject, and it's very complex, but I'll try my best. And anyway, Cezanne's the next one. Hope you enjoyed that, and don't forget to subscribe. See you soon, everybody. Bye.